Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Today I want to do this quick video discussing two passages from the Bible. One being where Jesus fed the multitudes with the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And I also want to discuss the passage where Jesus walked on water. Now I want to read directly from the book so there's no discrepancies. So if you want to go get your Bible, I don't know if you're a Christian or whatever the case may be. I'm not a Christian, but it doesn't matter. Many people are. So knowledge is wisdom and grasp. It's a deep thing. But I'm going to be reading from Matthew chapter 14, verse 13 through 21. And this is discussing when Jesus fed the multitudes. And I want to read this scripture and then break down what that passage means in real life, because it's a deep thing. Now it says, chapter 14, verse 13, when Jesus heard it, he departed from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the village and buy themselves food." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish." And Jesus said, "Bring them here to me." And then he commanded the multitude, and he gave out the food, and everyone ate. But I want y'all to grasp the deep thing. Jesus told his disciple when he said, "Man, we only got 5 loaves and 2 fish. We can't feed them." And Jesus said, "You feed them." He basically told them, we only got 5 loaves and 2 fish. Send them to the village so they could buy food. And Jesus said, don't send them to the village to buy food. You feed them. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. The people came to Jesus. He was out there with them all day, speaking to them, teaching them, healing them. And they came a long way just to see him. Now they've been out there so long, nighttime came. So now it's time to go. But Jesus, no, I'm hungry. So I know they hungry. They've been out here all day with me. Jesus like, man, they've been out here all day with me. So I know if I'm hungry, they got to be hungry. So now his disciples is like, all right, it's time to eat. Jesus, send them away so we can eat. Because you know you don't want to eat right in front of people's face. So the disciples is telling Jesus, yo, send them away. It's feeding time. And Jesus is like, why we need to send them away? And his disciples like, man, we ain't got enough food for them greasy ass niggas. And Jesus like, they've been out here all day to see us. They starved. And you want to send them away? Brother, you got to feed the hungry. There's always enough. That was the point of that passage. Jesus was trying to let the disciple know. Brother, I was born in a horse stable. I was dirt poor. I ain't had nothing. But I'm here right now with you, in front of you. I'm alive, so that means I got what I needed all this time, even though I ain't had shit. So let them know. It don't matter if all we got left is 2 loaves and fish. There's enough. Now, a lot of people think that passage meant that the 5 loaves and 2 fish were not enough for everyone. But it never said how big the loaves were It never said how big the fish were. So grasp. They could have only had 5 loaves left and 2 big fish left, which would have been enough to sustain them for their whole journey. And them feeding the multitude would have interfered with that. So you have to grasp. It had nothing to do with them not having enough to feed the multitude, but it had a matter to do with their journey. You have to remember, Jesus was traveling. They had enough food for their journey. To give to the multitudes interferes with that. Jesus is telling them, there's always enough. My nigga, I was born poor. I've been sustained this long. So things come, things go. But there's always enough. So you give unto those that need. Because you'll get more. You worrying about the wrong things. We may not even make it to the next city. So at least we get the fellowship and eat with them. And it was a deep thing Jesus was trying to break down to them. Y'all lost, man. Y'all trying to hold on to everything y'all got. Give. You'll receive. It's in the orders. You don't need to worry about if I give, you gonna get. You good. And everywhere Jesus went, they took care of him. It's a deep thing. I do my teaching. I'm taken care of. It's a deep thing. But it's just a life. You just have to have balance and understand. Men are poor. They get rich. They forget. It's a deep thing. I'm not telling you to be a Christian or believe in the Bible, but I'm telling you to grasp the point. It's a deep thing. The point is, while you out there getting your money and doing what you're doing, a lot of us was poor. And truly, that's what you'll always be, a poor spirit. And whatever you get, it should be to make that balance more equal, where the poor have also. So we tend to get what we have, and then we tend to say, man, I don't have enough to share. There's always enough to share. Because nothing on the earth is yours. It's for all the inhabitants of the earth. And the moment you begin to think, I don't have enough to share, this is how you get the imbalance where you have men poor and men rich. Men not having what they need and men having way more than they need and desire. So it's a deep, like I said, this is a book of morality. If you don't have morality, you truly won't grasp what you're reading. And it's a deep thing. You have to have your own wisdom. So that when you're learning or when you're reading other things or hearing someone else's wisdom, because this is all reading is. It is hearing the thoughts of another person written down. So it's a deep thing. When you're indulging in the understandings of others, you have to have understanding for yourself. Lest their understanding becomes yours, and you probably don't fully grasp their understanding. So you just understand as they do from a small perspective. And this is how most are with the Bible. But I want to move along to where Jesus walked on water, because that one was deep also. Now we're going to stay on Matthew chapter 14. We're just going to go to verse 25 through 30. And it says, now in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a ghost. And they cried out of fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, be of good cheer. It is I. Do not be afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. So he said, come. And when Peter had come out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. And he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. Now it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. He came out the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus until he saw the wind. And then he got afraid and sank. And that was the point of that passage. Your fears are what stop you from doing everything in life. It wasn't until he got scared that he began to sink. It was a matter of he didn't think he could do that. He didn't think that was logically something that could be done. Therefore, that didn't exist then, walking on water. Then when he believed, because he believed Jesus, so he's like, well, shit, tell me to come to you and I'll come, because then it's real. So he said, come. And he came. And the smallest amount of fear got in him, it's like a man swimming. The moment he gets scared, he starts to drown. He knows how to swim, but the panic, the fear. A man knows how to open the keys. A man knows how to open the door, meaning take his key, put it in the lock, open it. He knows how to do this. But let someone be chasing him with a gun and he'll just can't do it. It's a deep thing. The fear is what stops us from being great in every aspect of the life. We get nervous. Man sinks. Men sink because of their fears and their insecurities. And they try to pull others down too. You can't do this. You ain't as wise. You ain't the wisest man on the planet, because he ain't. So then we say I ain't. But it don't mean nothing, because I said I am. And then I am. So you see how that works? It's a deep thing. Fears and insecurities control men. They control a man's reality so deeply that they didn't even think that was Jesus. They said, nah, that's a ghost. I never seen the ghost, but that's a ghost. see the logic of man? He never seen the ghost. He don't know nothing about no ghosts. Who said ghosts go walk on water? He know Jesus. He see him walking on the water, but he's like, nah, that just can't happen. So it's a ghost. Something I know nothing about. But it's going to be that, because that ain't Jesus. So you see the logic? Whatever you believe is. Men believe aliens. They believe this thing, that thing. And so it is for them. It's a deep thing. Truly a deep thing. But I'm going to leave y'all. I'm going to leave y'all with this message. You got a lot of leaders and you got a lot of followers in the life. Well, that's basically all you truly have. You have leaders and followers. And then you have those that just be. They understand the orders, but there's very few of that. Now, leaders look for followers, and followers look for leaders. And the leaders expect the followers to do what they tell them. Basically, whatever great wisdom they have, they expect the followers to do what they say. Therefore, these things can become real or manifest. And the followers expect the leader to make good on all he say. Now, the follower is depending on the leader to do all the doing. And the leader is depending on the following to do his doing. And it becomes a tug of war of slavery. Each part is dependent on the other to do the bidding. And nothing gets done. It's a deep thing. The leader, not the leader, but the following. Let's say it's 5 million followers of a man. Each individual follower has to answer to that individual. It's a one-on-one thing. But that leader has to answer to them all as a whole. Do you see the weight? The follower only has one master, the leader. But the leader is a slave to them all, because he has to keep them happy or they won't follow him anymore. So you see the tug of war of the slavery? It's a deep thing. Wise men know. Never lead. Never follow. Just grasp. It's deep. All I know is from experience. I've led men. I was a leader of a gang. I was a leader of a drug crew. 24 hours, baby. It's a deep thing. But I was the leader. And trust me when I tell you, followers are dependent on the leader. And the leader's dependent on the followers to do what he say, so that what he say could be good. And the followers like, I don't know how to do nothing except listen to what you say. As far as doing, I just do what you say. And it becomes an imbalance because the follower truly has no conscience of his own. He can't compliment the leader. The leader cannot get counsel from the followers because they don't grasp nothing but what he said. The leader traps himself, and the followers trap themselves. So it's deep. When I was selling dope and I had my crew, I was the leader. Now, if they all had a leader's mind, they would have took the work I gave them, found themselves a block, and built that block up and became a me, strengthening the crew. Now, if I fall off, I can reach out to them because they're me, there. And they're me, there because of me. So we all one. Therefore, I can't fall. But that's not what happens. You give a man work, and he just does what you say. Go see this fiend, go see that fiend. He doesn't add on. He's dependent. It's just like any worker. You're dependent on your boss to have work for you tomorrow, and you just do whatever the work consists of you to do. You don't really think when you go to work, what can I do to make this business better? Because you're like, who cares? It's not mine. So this is my point. Leaders and followers, they drag each other down. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Everyone earns what they get. You want to be a leader? So you'll be the slave. You want to be a follower? You'll be brought everywhere, always following. It's a deep thing. You get what you ask for. A man who likes to lead has to be responsible for all he leads. And this is a job, to be responsible. And when that leader can't deliver, whew, it's a deep thing. So grasp. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Be blessed.